familiar with this, having lived in Arkansas. They have competing visions on how to best implement President Trump's agenda to overhaul elections and voting. So let's bring in an Arkansan right now, Communications Director of Conduit News, Jenny Lauren Dowden. Jenny Lauren, it is great to have you with us this afternoon talking about this election. We know Norris is in favor of hand counting paper ballots and Hammer is not. Now, Hammer's certainly more of an establishment type. He's been endorsed by Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders. What could the outcome mean, depending on how the election goes tonight? What could the outcome mean for Arkansans, specifically when it comes to future election integrity?
Well, I thank you so much for having us here at Conduit. I think that, and as you clearly know and you stated previously, there's such a clear distinction between these two candidates. And although they have an R beside their name, you and your viewers will understand that that can range, that can go all over the spectrum in what they actually believe when they are in office. And so you have Senator Kim Hammer. He is a lifelong career politician. He's serving in the Senate right now. He's termed out, and this will be the third public office that he is running for. And you know, what's interesting, during the legislative session in 2025, Senator Hammer ran a series of election integrity bills, but when they were combined together, Arkansans really saw that it took away the people's initiative to put things on the ballot. And also, I want to mention that 4 of those bills that he ran, they're actually blocked right now. They're held up in the courts as being unconstitutional. And so you have Senator Hammer, who believes that the process, almost there needs to be a consolidation of power within the Secretary of State's office and there at the Capitol in Little Rock. And you contrast that with Bryan Norris, who is a 20-plus year war veteran. He is not a career politician nor a politician at all. And he clearly fought for the Constitution. He believes in liberty and freedom. And he believes that the people rule. Like, you know, that is our state motto. And so it's really going to come down to whether or not with Norris, I think supporters will see that he's going to respect Arkansans' wishes regarding ballot initiatives, whether it's an issue of if Norris supports or not. But Hammer, it seems that the end justifies the means, and so that's what we've seen with a lot of his ballot initiative legislation.
Yeah, so I want to ask you what your feel is there on the ground. Norris won the primary, but obviously didn't have a majority. So on the ground there today here on Election Day, what's the feel? Who do you think has the edge as we come down to the final hours of this runoff?
I have no idea. I have no idea. You see, I will say that there is a lot of energy and excitement for Norris. I don't know that I see that, and I haven't really heard that from a lot of people regarding Hammer's campaign. You know, I would talk to legislators whenever we were going into just the regular primary race, and legislators would say, "What, you know, where is he? He doesn't need to be at an ALC meeting. He needs to be out there campaigning." And what you've seen since that runoff, which Norris led, or the regular primary race, which Norris led, you now almost see the establishment and the state Republican Party kind of pushing Hammer along. As you mentioned, the governor has endorsed him. Every constitutional office, I believe, nearly has endorsed him, and every legislator, which they have been getting text messages from caucus along with graphics to send out to support Hammer. And so the energy seems to be there for Norris, but I think with runoffs, and you know this about Arkansas, the runoff turnout, as far as, you know, voters, it's really low. And it could just come down to a handful of votes, 100 votes or so. And it will basically just be who can get what camp can get their candidate out today. And so we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah. It's very important to vote, and you've got a few hours left. Of course, we love the folks at Conduit News. Little known fact, maybe, one of the founders, Joe Maynard, coined the phrase trans Republicans, which I ripped off and talked about on this show. So thank you all for what you're doing.
All right, folks, this is Kenny with just the right angle. Let me go ahead and make myself visible so you can see me. So, yes, folks, for those who don't know, there was a primary runoff election in the state of Arkansas. The voter turnout was very, very low. And I am actually handling another matter while I'm doing this. This is Kenny with Just the Right Angle, coming at you with an update on what happened at the runoff election. The big one was, of course, the statewide race between Kim Hammer and Bryan Norris. Kim Hammer won by 938 votes. And it was a race, to put in comparison, the votes cast on this election for the Secretary of State was 80,000, not quite 90,000, and the primary was 266,000. So, yeah, the turnout and the massive amount of money, I think close to $1 million was sent to bolster Hammer, who also was a career politician incumbent. But he did manage to get enough votes. There's not going to be any type of what you call recount or anything like that. So he will be the Republican nominee for Secretary of State. He will face, I think it's Kelly Gabber, or what's her name? Kelly Grapp is the Democrat running for Secretary of State, and then there's a Libertarian named Michael Pacco. And so you can, in the November election, there'll be a three-way race for Secretary of State there. Whoever gets more than 50% in that race will become the Secretary of State for the state of Arkansas. Now, I don't actually know what Michael Pacco feels regarding paper ballots, or Kelly Grapp for that matter. I don't know anything about them. And besides paper ballots, there were some other issues as well. Sorry about that. I still get calls from folks from Pakistan wanting to sell me warranty for a Chrysler SE. But folks, it overall was kind of a sad day for conservatives. Bryan Norris ran a very hard campaign. He actually worked hard to get this. As you see in the YouTube video, the difference between the two, here's a link to that video so you can watch it later. And I'll post it in the chat as well. But in the end, the money, the special interests, the legislators that were all summoned by Chris Caldwell and Sarah Huckabee Sanders to cheerlead for Hammer, the pastors that were told to preach from the pulpit for him, the pro-life people that were convinced he saved the unborn by getting rid of the ability to do the ballot initiative process, when in reality he didn't. A lot of those anti-ballot initiative laws that, by the way, have been declared unconstitutional. They were just enough to get him over the edge, along with a low turnout. On the plus side, and if you look at this, there's some other races here. This was a Democrat race here, I believe Tara Shepard for Charity Smith, and I had posted some of the other Republican races. Here was Mike Bishop defeating Jeff Pratt. Cody Rogers defeated Hunter Rivett, 39 votes. That's a state legislative race, by the way. Audrey Wills defeated Joyce Ann Gray. Tonya Fletcher defeated Curtis Varnell. I had heard some stuff about Curtis Varnell from someone else who on this link that there was some issues involving him. And apparently that had somewhat of an effect. Brent Montgomery defeated Kristain Thomas. Now, according to Conduit News, and I can't quite bring up the information, the people they supported in these runoff elections won. At least 2 out of 3 of them won, and then there were several county judge races and sheriff races. One in particular in Saline County, Richard Friend was defeated by the incumbent there. Thank you to Arkansas Alcatraz. This is a great organization. They're fighting against the big Franklin County Prison pet project that Sarah Huckabee Sanders has been wanting to push, and they've been largely successful. As a matter of fact, these elections, both the primary elections and these past elections overall, they have actually increased the number of people that say they are opposed to building the massive super prison complex in Franklin County, when there's other places that it could be done for that are a lot better. So it's kind of an overall sad day, but it's not an overall defeat. It's not a complete loss. Conservatives have made gains in the Arkansas legislature in this endeavor. So the things that are coming up next, I'll do this right quick before I go. There is the county conventions that are coming up where delegates will be chosen to the state convention. Now, I don't know all the details that are going to happen, if there's anything major that's going to happen in the Arkansas Republican Party state convention. Typically, it's during the last convention, we passed a lot of conservative reforms, and then the consultant class machine met behind closed doors and got rid of them and nullified them. Then, under political pressure, they at least enacted some of those reforms, mainly the one regarding Democrats being able to vote in the Republican primary. And they may have been concerned over the hatred of people hating Sarah Huckabee Sanders so much. That may be the issue. But in any event, we will have a county conventions going on across the state. That'll be in the April county committee meetings usually. Well, they will certify the people that won the primary. And then there will be the state convention. Also, within a week, there is a fiscal session coming up where the budget will be worked on. Oftentimes, those during the special session, like the fiscal one, a lot of the bills are already decided, but a lot of people thought that the Franklin County issue was decided, and enough political fights when the conservatives managed to shut that down. So anyway, that's all I want to do, is just give a quick update on what's going on. When the righteous rule, the people rejoice, and people have a say in that. But a lot of people did not show up March 31st, so we'll have to see what happens. Will people show up and get involved? Will they get discouraged? Will the consultant class succeed in keeping conservatives from being able to have a say in what happens in this state? Time will tell.